So after 189 episodes of One Piece, of a masterpiece of a series, we finally get the endgame boss, the final villain, finally revealed in One Piece. Or do we? And normally the pacing of this episode is an issue. I mean, it took 9/10 of the episode, but the final 5 minutes of this episode is what I really want to talk about. If you read the manga, you know the significance of this moment. If you're anime only, you gotta be thinking, what the hell's going on? So allow me to explain. We got about Kuma, and it makes sense because obviously he's a big assistance to the Straw Hats escaping Sabri Archipelago and being destroyed. And because of that, he's been revered from Sabo. We get some information though we did get about the Revolutionary Army. They know the admirals are there, but they haven't made a move. So, and Sabo's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to do what we have to get Kuma out of there. He's our dear friend. So the Revolutionary Army commanders plus Sabo are going to do something. I don't know where the hell Dragon's at. Monkey D. Dragon. He has to show up at some point. It's his declaration of war, pretty much. Maybe the rest of the Revolutionary Army. We saw Bella Betty and Koala, as well as some of the Revolutionary Army commanders. Not Joe, but they may show up too. It really is fascinating to me because we did finally get the kingdoms and the world leaders interacting, all of them together for the first time, the build up. So it's kind of cool to see the kingdoms talking about one of the things that bring up, which I thought it would, as Monkey D. Luffy, and you see King Cobra over here in all of this because he knows this is problematic because you have certain kingdoms who have it in for Luffy. And there's others like the Alabasta Kingdom and the Dressrosa Kingdom who are dead to Luffy's, but they can't really reveal that because it put them at a huge risk, even though they're kind of at risk. Right again, we get a reminder of what the Reverie is. It's held every 4 years to discuss huge events within the world of One Piece, with the 150 kingdoms to be exact. And the only one laughing at the strides that Luffy's making is pretty much Elizabeth, because he's a member of the Straw Grand Fleet. We do go to the Sunny, and we get Luffy giddy over his bounty post because it means he's revered throughout the world. And I'm pretty sure he knows that not only Shanks Boss and Sabo are well aware of this. Sanji saying the new newspapers arrived to inform them about the Reverie. It looks like King Hamburger, is going to be like the group leader or the moderator for the discussions. Meanwhile, there's one interesting subject where they're talking about Big Mom being overthrown by Luffy by going for Kaido. So that's pretty much public knowledge right now. So everybody's aware that Luffy and the Straw Hats are going to Wano, which it doesn't fall under the jurisdiction. And again, that was mentioned. The more they mention that, the more stuff is going to happen after Wano. When it comes to the Marines, I don't see them being silent. But Akainu, the last time we saw him, was talking about they can't go to Wano because it doesn't fall under the restriction of the world government, so they can't do anything. The conversation we got between Kaido and Big Mom was hacked into. I said this before. Like, who else? It's obvious that the Marines hacked in. Who else could have overheard this? The rest of the Yonko, it's obviously other kingdoms know about this. So, like I said, I think others are going to use this information to their advantage. You saw Wapol actually smile, so I don't know what he's thinking. Obviously, the thing what I really want to talk about and what you're really here for is the last minute and a half of the episode. We go over to, I guess, the Pangaea Castle. We get the Gorosei, each of the 5 Elder Stars talking about King Cobra and does he know too much about the history of 800 years ago? Now, there's obviously a connection with that year, that century, because we know that's the year that the poneglyphs were forged by Wano. We know that's where the empty throne was also forged. So is there a connection there? Is that where the Void Century took place? So there's obviously a huge connection with the ancient. They say King Cobra, does he know too much? Hope he doesn't become problematic. I mean, we know how the Gorosei what happened with O'Hara. So do I need to say more? And the flower garden of Pangaea Castle, and we see the scenery of Imu Sama. It's not I'm Sama, it's Imu Sama. So I'm glad we got that translation. So Imo-sama, and the more I think about it, the more it looks more like a female. Even though it's in silhouette, you can kind of see the figure. I don't know. You make your own conclusions. I've been saying this ever since they appeared in the manga, Imo-sama, but I think this kind of throws some theories out the window, considering what they thought they knew. Now we know thanks to the anime. So it's pretty much surrounded by, I guess, flowers and lovely scenery. It's not something you would see for a sinister being. So that's the insight you get into, I guess, that like or tastes. Similar to how we got with Green Bull when he was introduced. We know how he's like a gourmet, right? And technically he couldn't eat for like 4 years. So that's a reveal to his devil fruit as well. And maybe this is a reveal to Imo-sama, his or her likes and interests. So it seems to be flowers and butterflies, and she's been summoned to meet up with the Gorosei in the throne room, and we actually see three pictures, or two of them are Luffy and Blackbeard, and the other Shirahoshi, and that's got a knife in it. And now, have you noticed Imo-sama's also holding Vivi's picture? So it's clear as day. It's clear as day. It was actually very subtle in the manga. It looked like a big poster in her hand, to be honest with you, when she was walking off. But the fact that those three pictures are huge and relevant in this situation. First off, Luffy, understandable, Straw Hat's a pain in the ass to the world government. His post has been torn up. So has Marshall D. Teach. Don't forget that. It's not just Luffy. Blackbeard, he's also a threat because of his devil fruit, and he's a pirate. So first and foremost, plus he's a Yonko. Pictures tore up. So it's not just Luffy. It's also Blackbeard, and he's got Shirahoshi with a knife, a dagger, right in her picture. So that the only thing I can think of is maybe they know she's the ancient weapon Poseidon. So she's already been targeted by that joke of a celestial dragon Charlos, but maybe that was foreshadowing as to what was coming. The fact that she's there at the Reverie, has to make a move. Imo-sama looks like she's well aware of what's going on. She has to be. Do they know what King Neptune and Nico Rob were talking about back on Fishman Island? Do they know she's the ancient weapon Poseidon? And poneglyph that's related to Joy Boy? Do they know that? Because that's the only thing I can think of at this point. And Vivi's picture in her hand, that's going to be interesting because it's not just King Cobra, Vivi, the Princess of Alabasta. So are we going to get a Vivi rescue arc? Is that what we're implying here? Because let me tell you something, okay? That's going to, not only is she influential in Alabasta, not only is she a huge ally to the Straw Hat Pirates, so that could lead to huge conflict. Also, most importantly, the only thing that makes sense is another conversation between Nico Robin and King Cobra over the poneglyph and the other ancient weapon, Pluton. We've never actually seen Pluton. We know the designs, thanks to Frankie, but it's the only thing that kind of makes sense at this point. So, is that what we're planning here? Do they already know about stuff like that? Because the Gorosei did say hopefully he doesn't become problematic. So that tends to go with what we saw with Imo-sama. But either way, she doesn't talk. But we get somebody addressing her, and it's obviously a female. So that again raises a lot of questions. So she goes over to the throne room, or they go over to the throne room, and the fact that the five elder stars, the five elders, the Gorosei are kneeling or bowing before Imo-sama should tell you everything you need to know about the influence this figure has within the world government. We know the hierarchy. We know how it falls. We have the Gorosei, the celestial dragons are above them. I figured that not even celestial dragons can actually sit on that throne. Only one true successor without bias can sit on that throne. So the fact that Imo-sama is sitting there, you got the Marines. So that's how it works. Fleet Admiral Al-Qainu is so far under the totem pole. It's not funny when it comes to like the world government. It's a figure in silhouette, and we don't really get to see what they say. all the factors. We know what they're kind of going to apply, and that's the target. And you got to say pretty much like, what is it you want us to extinguish from history? Imu-sama. So it could only be Vivi. It could be Vivi. It could be Luffy. We don't know. But man, this chapter was hyped when it came out. This was in chapter 908. There's a lot of theories and speculation because of that. Since then, questions raised after the episode because a lot of people made fan arts of Imu-sama with yellow eyes, and a lot of people said there's a connection with Mihawk. Look at the color of their eyes. I think that's been put to rest in this episode because she has red eyes, kind of like the Sharingan. And that raises a question. I am not changing my stance. I've said this ever since she was introduced. I think she's a female, and there's a lot of speculation that says possibly Imu-sama could be Luffy's mother because of Dragon beef with the world government, or specifically the Celestial Dragon. We don't really know why that is. So a lot of people speculate maybe it has to do with the fact that there's a connection with Dragon, and the only thing that makes sense is she's the mother of Luffy. Plus, she has a huge knowledge with the history. She has to. If she wants to assume there's going to be a lot more questions raised of this episode. Obviously, it was an average episode, but because the significance of what we saw at the end, it was a great ending to what was a fantastic chapter in the manga. Week or the preview, we're going to get to see Marco again and see his adventures, and he's been patching up remnants of Whitebeard's crew or Whitebeard's family on his home island. So that's kind of cool. And it's interesting to me is this was in chapter 909. So are we going to get the second half after that? Because we know one begins in episode 892. So there's still a couple more episodes to go. So unless we get some filler episodes, we could actually get chapter 909 in 2 episodes. So that's going to be kind of cool. But all in all, let me know what you guys think about Imu-sama. And finally, their appearance in the anime. Do you think she's a woman? Do you think he's a guy? I've given you my stance on the situation. Please let me know in the comments. That's going to do it today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Subscribe to for more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.